So, a couple months ago, a guy by the name of Gargin created a Minecraft mod that added in a creature known as the Cave Dweller. Now, this wasn't just your standard Minecraft mob. It was a complex entity that when it spawned in, it would just stare at the player, and then it could either flee and run away or start chasing the player. And it could even change its height so that it could go through 2-block tall tunnels and crawl through 1-block tall holes. And so this mod got really popular, and because of it, it sparked the creation of several other similar mods, like the Cave Dweller Reimagined, the Man from the Fog, and the Midnight Lurker. And I think that all of these mods are really cool. So I thought, why not try to make my own creepy creature? So I did. So the first thing that I needed to create was the 3D model, because if I was going to try to make this thing scary, it at least needed to look scary. I mean, it would be pretty difficult to try to make a sheep be scary. So I wanted to give it a very tall and skinny appearance. And then for texturing it, I realized that all of the other similar creatures all had either glowing eyes or a glowing face or something similar to that. And yes, it is really creepy to see glowing eyes in the dark, but do you know what else is creepy? Not seeing eyes glowing in the dark. But I did want it to stand out a little bit, so I decided to give it a very pale body. And then for the face, I decided to give it very empty eyes and the same thing for a mouth. And yeah, with the 3D model done, it looked pretty, yeah, it's not the greatest, but I changed that later, so don't worry. Now with a rough model of the thing, it was time to actually program it. So I kind of wanted to give it a Slenderman-like feel to it. So I wanted it to just kind of stare at you, and then it'll disappear, and then it'll reappear, but it will be closer to you. So I figured out, after many attempts, how to do this. I basically give it slowness when it spawns in, and then when the slowness runs out, it will either get slowness again, or it will go invisible. And when it goes invisible, it will start running towards you. And oh man, this worked perfectly. It is just absolutely terrifying seeing something just there and then appear like 30 blocks closer. It's terrifying. And then once the creature gets really close to you, it will enter into chase mode. It literally has to like bump into you, and then it'll enter into chase mode. And in chase mode, this thing is like crazy fast. Oh, and I also made it completely immune to damage, so you just have to run away from the thing. And then to add on a little bit of extra variety to it, I made it so that it can just completely despawn at any point in time. So you can't tell if it just goes invisible or if it's actually gone. And then when it's chasing you, you just kind of have to outrun it until it just despawns. So it's kind of funny because you'll just be running from it and you'll really just not be running from anything because it has already despawned. And now for probably one of the most important parts was the sound design. When you get near it, it'll play a very faint whispering sound, and I mean very faint. So that's pretty scary. And then when it enters into chase mode, it will play a very loud stinger, and then it will play this really distorted roar slash scream, and it's just really disturbing, and I think it turned out great. Now with the sounds done, I decided to completely re-3D model the thing because reasons. Standing at 3 blocks tall is this terrifying thing, which I call the one who watches. So as I was showing this thing off in my Discord server, which you should totally join by the way, link down below, this guy gave me a great idea to make it hang from the ceiling upside down in caves, which would be terrifying, so I did exactly that. So you can just, you know, be wandering through a cave and you just hear this whispering sound and there's nothing nearby. And then until you look up and you just see this thing hanging upside down, staring at you. So yeah, that's pretty much the creature. If you want to download it, it'll be linked down below. And yeah, I'll show you some gameplay of it all completely finished. Oh, and since you made it this far, why not go ahead and like the video and subscribe if you want to see me use this thing along with a bunch of other scary mods in a giant mod pack. So anyways, here's some gameplay.